Steve Schulke here with the Twin Home Experts. Today we're going to go ahead and go over a reverse osmosis for drinking water. So if you're wondering, God, what system do I go with? Or how do I know what reverse osmosis system will work for me? How much does a reverse osmosis cost? Which one is absolutely the best out there? Well, today we're going to go ahead and show you the Twin Home Experts favorite. So come on in. So here we are, we're going to go ahead and install the reverse osmosis system right here. And the one thing to consider when you're considering installing a reverse osmosis for your drinking water is make sure that you have enough room underneath the sink. All right, just to give you a closer perspective as to where we're going to be installing the reverse osmosis is right here. So we've already confirmed and verified that the system that we're going to be installing will fit here. Now, one of the things that you may want to consider is before you install any type of filtration system is to waterproof the bottom of your cabinetry. And the reason why is because these are notorious for drips, small leaks. So to give you a peace of mind would be to caulk these joints here. In fact, one of my videos, I give a pretty good example of how to properly waterproof your cabinet. So you can take a look at that for a reference. But here we would caulk, waterproof this area, and then put a water alarm. That's going to give you peace of mind in the event you do have a drip. But I'm going to go ahead and show you the reverse osmosis system that we're going to be installing that I'm excited about because it does have a pretty cool feature that I'll go over here in just a moment. All right, folks, so the system that we're going to be installing today is made by HydroGuard. The reason why Twin Home Experts loves this product or this system is that it does have a tray that in the event this does leak, it's going to be captured here in this tray, and there's a sensor that actually expands and will automatically shut the system down. Now, how cool is that? Talk about prevention and peace of mind. Again, being in the water damage and mold business and seeing complete destruction from these little connections here leaking through, this is an amazing, amazing system. Not only that, it does a great job with giving you great purified water. So, all right, so let's go ahead and take the next step and start installing the system.
You have to put it on this side of the P-trap.
All right, folks, so we're putting the drain adapter, which is going to be before the P-trap. The reason why you want that is because of the
sewer smell,
sewer gases and sewer odors. So what we're going to do is we're going to secure it on the pipe, and here we don't have much room other than to put it on the 90 off the garbage disposal. So once we adapt this, then we'll drill a hole through the drain here.
Put an 1 1/8 hole in there, at least that much. It's got a flow restrictor in there that flows even less water than an 1 1/8 hole. So as it kind of builds up in here, it'll drizzle in and it holds this noise down a little bit. Because you will hear a gurgling sound with any RO. So this line here connects to your feed water. As it comes in, like we said, it restricts that. It goes through this first filter. It's a fiber filter and it's about 5 micron. It will filter out all the turbidity, the junk, whatever you might have in your water. City water is great water, but there's still things in it. Next one, it goes through a carbon filter. The carbon filter pulls away any of the chlorine or the VOCs, volcanic organic compounds, and it gets rid of all that. And then the membrane is protected. And all it has to do is its job, which is to separate the heavy mineral from drinking water. So once it goes through there, the bad water is now redirected to this drain in this drain clamp, and it sits in a storage tank. Now the water's been depressurized because we've used all the water pressure to get through that membrane. So at this point, the product water just trickles into the tank. And when you go up to your faucet here and you call for water, or your ice maker calls for water, or your cappuccino machine, and in this case calls for water, then the tank pushes the water out because it's got a bladder in it, and it bends the water to wherever you need to go. But before it sends that water, it goes through this very last carbon filter to sharpen up the water, just in the off chance that that tank or something gave it a, you know, a plasticky smell or a taste or something. It goes through that carbon filter. After that process done, you know, you can take water from 500 TDS, which is total dissolved solids, which is the mineral, the floaties that you see in water, and you can reduce that under 25. You don't really want it at 0, it's too aggressive. Somewhere between 0 and 25 is a pretty good range for RO water. Hey, Wayinski.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and use Teflon tape on all the threads here.
You're gonna make sure you go the direction of the valve that you're gonna put on. Try to give it 3 little hits at a minimum. And now the valve here is to hold back the water pressure. What's interesting about RO is the same line that fills and drips water into this tank is the same line that bends the water out. Everybody's always looking for an inlet and outlet. In this particular case, it's the same thing. Everything is with reverse osmosis systems that touch water are made out of an aircraft material, plastics, because you don't want water, and especially RO water, which is aggressive, leaching off the copper fittings, whatever fitting there would be. So you don't want to tighten this too tight because there's a fine little line, or else you're going to have a crack and you're going to crack that. So what we're going to do is pre-fill this tank. RO systems will take about 2 hours to pressurize, and at that point with a new installation, you're halfway down the road and you might have a drip or something. So pressurizing it with city water, it's the best we can do to make sure everything's good and tight, and then the customer can just drain the water off, bleed the filters, and turn it off when we're confident everything's okay, and then they can recoup their water with new water. Only takes about 1.5 minutes till you hear it go thump. While this is filling up, the reason reverse osmosis is so popular is distilled water used to be the way to go to purify your water. It took a lot of energy, left a lot of scale, a lot of maintenance. The reason so many people are turning to reverse osmosis to get purified water is it's about 95% of distilled water, although it doesn't have near the maintenance that distilled water needs or the electricity to make distilled water. This is done through water pressure. It's pushed through a membrane, just like I'm sweating right here. I'm doing a osmosis. Reverse osmosis, we're going to take moisture from the outside and push it through the inside. The only thing that can penetrate that membrane is the purest of water. And at that point, we use it for manufacture, for hospitals, for fish tanks, for just about anything. Working up the feed line with John Gust or Shark Bite, whichever you might be using. They're pretty cool, but I wouldn't put them in a place that you can't see. You know, the jury's still out with these things, but you know, you can see them under your cabinet or something. They're great. Very few times do they leak, but sometimes they do. It's just like anything, I guess. So. Take your drain line and try to route it in the cleanest place we can. We want to put just kind of a loop in it because sometimes the gurgling of these guys can drive you crazy.
So the black hose indicates the drain.
This particular system has lots of tubing and really doesn't have stickers on it to make it convenient for you, but when you do as many as I do, you just know. But the way you find out is the very front of the unit has the tank line, which corresponds with this, and then it's got the faucet line that corresponds with that. The black one is going to the drain, and the white one is your feed line. So it's easy if you pay attention, but it's also easy to do it wrong, so pay attention. Connected. We're going to turn the water on, have the drain line disconnected, not for long, but we're going to let the air bleed out of it, and I want to see that water's going to the drain.
All right, right, folks, so there you have it. Those are some tips that you want to consider when you're installing an RO system. Now let's talk a little bit about the big box stores like Lowe's and Home Depot. A lot of questions we get is, hey Dave, what if I just go and buy my own Home Depot or Lowe's RO system? And that's certainly an option to consider. The only thing that, and I think you can agree with this, Dave, is that those systems aren't going to have all the bells and whistles like this one here. Also, it's going to have a lot more connections, which means more vulnerability to leaks. So any input you want to give on that, Dave?
Well, big box stores, they also don't come with service. They'll have a warranty, but you pick up the phone and call Home Depot and you say, yeah, my RO, I need it installed, or it leaks or whatever, and Home Depot's not going to have a clue. Right. You will be able to trace it down through a manufacturer and somebody come out. You know, if you're buying it from a reputable dealer, that reputable dealer is going to answer the phone and come and take care of you. There's a lot of good dealers, but you know, there's a lot of crazy dealers too. You want to just, you know, check Google.
Absolutely. Well, with that, folks, you have to understand that there is maintenance to these. You got to replace filters, so that is something to consider as well when you're investing in an RO system. You know, for me, being a plumber for over 30 years, I'm still, again, when you have someone that specifically does this, such as Dave, every single day, he's going to give you that peace of mind knowing that things are going to be installed. Now, you're probably wondering, what does an RO system cost? Well, you know, we've seen them, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Dave, but I've seen them as low as about $500 and as high as about $4,000. So it's a big difference. The best thing to do is really do your homework in your local area, find out who specializes in RO systems, and at least get 3 estimates so that way you're educated, making sure that you're getting the best price. And also, like Dave said earlier, a reputable company. So anyhow, folks, hopefully this helped give you the insight of a reverse osmosis system for your home. And as always, thanks for watching. If you like this, give us a thumbs up and make sure you hit that subscribe button.